Okay, welcome everyone. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. Guys, if you're new, drop me a thumbs up or leave me a comment if you're finding value in the content. I do appreciate it. I do read through the comments. I look at some of the stock picks or charts you want me to look at, and I continue to scan. So that does help. Leave a comment of anything you'd like me to look at. I'm not going to respond to everyone, but if something looks interesting, I'll put it in one of these videos. Next up, guys, if you're new and you want to learn this as a skill set and not just follow along YouTube videos, I don't know about you guys, but I get burnout watching YouTube videos. And a lot of the stuff that I originally was kind of interested in, the macroeconomics stuff, it doesn't do any good. It just is people telling you stories and you don't make any money on it. And you just waste your life, basically. So, if you're interested in learning something besides just watching videos and you want to learn an actual skill that, I can't guarantee you're gonna be profitable. Nobody can really guarantee that. I can't control your emotions and when you enter and exit trades and all that. But what I can do is give you a knowledge base that's really gonna help set you apart, really give you some additional skills when looking at the markets and looking at charts. It should at least help quite a bit for reading charts. Then take my technical analysis course, okay? If you haven't taken that course, I really think that's a good value. I didn't put it at free, but I did price it affordable, okay? And that's there for your use. It's a tool set, so check it out. Link in the description below. Next up, guys, the private group has been off. We've really been pretty active in there, so if you're interested in joining the private group, I give additional market insight in the morning when the market opens up. I can throw stuff in there, throw charts very quickly. It doesn't, these videos take a while to kind of put together and upload to YouTube. So if you're interested in kind of getting some additional trade ideas, Snap was one of them. We caught Snap just recently. That thing's up, pretty big in the last few days, up 8 or 9% just today. That was all in the private group. So if you're interested in kind of getting some additional insight, additional trade ideas, join the private group. Link in the description below for that. Or there should be a join button next to the subscribe button. If you're on an iPhone, I think they just require you have to find the link in the description. They hide the join button. That's Apple for you. Okay, so join up if interested. All right, so let's get into the charts. Triple Qs. Now, we got a little pullback yesterday, or this morning really, pulling back to support about 296.38, and didn't look like anything. In the private group, I kind of mentioned this morning that I thought that this was a dip that probably should be bought, and sure enough, boom, they're buying it, stepping in. Next area of resistance, I've got kind of a double resistance. You've got this former high right here. Also, I see a reaction right here on the hourly chart, and that's about 303.28, 303.33, somewhere right in there. And then also, if I look at the daily, this is that trend line that was support, which could act as resistance. I think it will, and that falls right in here. So area, it's kind of a zone of resistance, 303.33 up to about 303.90. Zone of resistance right there. We should likely get a reaction at that area. All right, so that's what I'm looking for kind of next up. But so far, so good on this rally. We are continuing to cash on this one. That's not really what I want to cover today, though. I want to look at the dollar and some of these gold miners. We can look at this Snap trade. Well, the trade's kind of for the private group, but the point is the Snap trade's been doing really well. Okay, let's flip over to the dollar. And I want to look at the, DXY. That's one way to look at the dollar. But really, this is kind of the dollar set against the euro. I don't see anything too different here. I did modify my trend line slightly, kind of moved it down. I think I had it way up here or something. I moved it down. I still have one false bear trap or breakdown, a bear trap right there, but still uptrending basically with negative divergence. All right, that continues to show up. You can see here on the RSI, if I zoom in, this most recent high that we just made right up in here, okay, there's still a divergent high. You can see it's even pointing down, starting to turn down, helping to confirm that divergence. The PPO hasn't crossed over yet. As I zoom in on the PPO, you can see starting to shallow out. I think we're probably going to get that bearish crossover like that to help confirm that divergence. So to me, it's likely just another divergent high. But if I look at the dollar futures, the DX, you'll see here a little bit of a different look. So on the dollar futures, we have this longer term uptrend here, pretty well established here on the dollar futures. 1, 2, 3, 4 reactions. They stepped in early there, but at least 3 solid reactions. So I can call that a trend line. And what I want to focus though is kind of the more closer time frame pattern. So here you can see we've got this bearish rising wedge pattern. If I zoom down to the hourly, you'll notice that it looks a little bit cleaner. There it is right there. Bearish rising wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4 reactions. We got the sell signal just yesterday or the day before where we broke that bearish rising wedge. And today they're just popping this for a back test right into resistance. So to me, I think the dollar, at least in the short term, has started to break down. We got a breakdown. We're getting a back test. I think we'll continue lower, starting to roll over. You can see we have negative divergence right there on the hourly chart. So this was a divergent high, all right, and we're selling down out of this bearish rising wedge pattern. So it's a bearish setup for sure. We're back testing right now. It's objective to short, or in my opinion. And where do we head? Well, if I go back to the daily, I think this sets the dollar up for a move back down to the major trend line. All right, that's it for now. Just this trend line. We got to, I'm not calling for a larger move down in the dollar until we break that trend line, but I think we could probably head down, hit this trend line, and then, and then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so that's the dollar. Looking for some selling in the dollar, and that should be bullish, at least for gold. The ag commodities aren't playing well, so I do not have any ag commodities. I know wheat. I threw that out there. I looked at that yesterday. It kind of spiked, but when I scanned this morning, I'm looking. The ag commodities look weak. Wheat selling down pretty strongly. It was all just a false breakout. The coffee one, NIB, nothing going on there. I just don't see much strength here. I'm not really interested in these ag commodities quite yet. Gold, though, could be interesting. So gold for the most part has been trading inverse to the dollar. So the dollar's been strong and gold has been weak. But gold is not really moving down too much. If I look at, this is gold bullion, you'll see here, and I know it's a messy chart, but the point, that's because I point it out all the time. But look, we've got big support right there at about 1680. And you can see all these reactions. I've circled them many times where we have that holding as support. Okay, so there's recently, you can see right there. And right now, we're pretty much in that area. Not quite. I mean, obviously, it could sell down a little more. But it does look like we are in an area of support. Now, if this gets taken out, what I would want to look for and what I think would happen is if they take out the 1680, I think it'll be just kind of a bear trap. I think we'll just flush down, maybe run down to 1650 or so, maybe a little lower, and then swoop back up and recover it. If you see that, that would signal a bear trap, and that should be very bullish. You should have a pretty strong rally coming out of there, because all the people that jump in short on the breakdown will now start to realize that the breakdown was a false breakdown, and they'll have to cover those shorts, and then longs will pile in as well, and we'll start to rally. So with the dollar starting to look weak to me, I think we could, I think we're in the area of a bottom, whether we break down and then recover or just bounce here. And, to me, it looks like an area of decent support. When I look at the miners, GDX, not a whole lot going on, but the thing is that the miners continue to have bullish divergence on the RSI. And if I go here, look at the PPO, kind of, there it is right there, bullish divergence. See that? We're moving up in momentum, and yet price has kind of continuing to drift lower. Divergent low right there, boom. So as far as I can tell, we have, here's the setup on the miners that continue to look good. We have a bullish falling wedge. We had a breakout, and the breakout came with a gap up, so that's pretty impulsive. And we had a back test right there, and that was likely the low. That back test was a test of the support, this downtrend line here, and it's a divergent low. And I think we rally from here, all right, in the miners. Maybe the miners will front run the move in the metal. That's typical, I think. So Still looking for GDX to move up to 28.83 as the first area of of decent resistance up there. That's kind of the target for right now. Here's oil. Oil continues to look kind of weak. I think oil's probably heading lower. We broke support yesterday at 84.88 on the oil futures, and little counter trend bounce today, but nothing crazy there. And so one of the trade ideas I was looking at, and I'm still short this CEIX. So why did I pick this one? Well, for one, okay, this is an oil refiner. Some sort of energy company, coal. It looks like so they're in coal, and they've been pretty strong. But again, if oil and the whole energy sector is going to start coming down, I suspect coal will come down as well. And then if I look here, you can see daily trend. We had an uptrend line here, built negative divergence, just barely started to build it right up here at the top. If I go to the hourly chart, you can see there's the negative divergence there. We broke, so that was your sell signal, okay? And then we kind of did this little back testing action here. That looked like a back test. They couldn't quite even get it up there. Sellers have stepped in and starting to sell down. So down, down a little bit. I think we continue lower. Looking at the daily, this one has a long ways to potentially fall. So we've got a stronger uptrend, kind of a more meaningful uptrend line here. And that's the target. That's where I think we head. All right. I don't know exactly how long it'll take to get there, but I do think we probably work our way down, probably get some reactions. I'd have to kind of tighten it up. Probably right there, 57.76-ish, right in there is likely going to be a reaction. I'll have to kind of tighten it up just a little bit, but yeah, right there. I like that one. 58, we'll call it. Probably get a reaction there, a bounce, and then continue to roll down to this trend line. So the final target on this trade would be this lower trend line here. But from where we're at right now, it's the potential to fall 30%, somewhere right in there, depending on when we actually hit this trend line, or if we do. And this trend line right here, that's a 16% drop. So I like this one. I'm still short. I think we continue to head lower. Okay, let's take a look at LLY. LLY, what's going on here? All right, kind of flagging out a little bit. We can almost mark this flag out. I have to adjust it. We probably can go something like, it's something like maybe like that. And it's kind of flagging out right here. We're just up near the top end of the range. I think we break down. I think we continue lower. We don't have a breakdown yet on this flag, so they could foil the flag. We could run up and do another back test way up here. I'm not really willing to ride that out. If we start to break much higher from here, and I'm about at break even on this one, just because the sell signal came right here. And I think I added to it on this back test right there. On that back test. So I'm about at break even, and I'll give it a little room, but not too much. All right. I don't want to ride if it wants to do another back test, I don't want to ride that out. Okay. I'd be more interested in just shorting up here on that back test. So we'll give it a little room and see how it plays out. I think the way it's going to go is break down. Okay. But until we see that breakdown, we just trade it accordingly. Watch the price action. If I look at the volume, just to help me kind of recognize flags, you'll see the volume down here is dropping off as we're kind of grinding higher. So it is a flag pattern for sure, which would tell me that the highest probability is we continue down to our 284 profit target. Okay, that's all I got, guys. So again, if you're interested, take the course. I think it'll benefit you in your skill sets. That's kind of key. Key is having a skill set. I can only point out what I can point out. I'm not always going to be timely with the trades, and sometimes I'm going to be wrong. And you need to understand what it's helpful to recognize when I'm wrong. Okay, and that's part of the skill that you should be developing for yourself. So checked out the course. Good information in there. It's taken me years to kind of gather that information. And then drop me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, join the private group, all the good stuff. Catch you on the next one. Bye.